What's up, guys? It's Kevbo here.
Scab.
What up, RJ?
Alright, so today we're just gonna be talking about my life. So, my whole childhood, growing up, all I wanted to be was a professional baseball player. I played baseball so much, always practicing, trying to make that my career. And one day, I got horrible pains in my elbow, and I decided to not I decided to think nothing of it and just kept going, pushing through the pain. And I did that for about 4 months, and soon the pain became unbearable, and I decided to get an MRI. And it turns out I had a OCD lesion, and it's the process in which a segment of cartilage separates from the subchondral bone. So I had to get surgery for that. Basically, how the surgery goes is they drill into the area, and the purpose is to get the blood flowing so the cartilage can grow back. And it takes a long time for that to heal and for the cartilage to actually regrow. And the first surgery took almost a year, and all I could do is just wait for it to grow back by itself. So basically a year of doing absolutely nothing with my arms. Now, to me, playing sports was the only thing I ever cared about, and this really broke me down physically and mentally. You see, not using the muscles that you once used every day, soon they became very weak, and I lost almost all the muscle I had. It was still there, it was very weak. And when this happened, I got pretty depressed. And I was very young, and I didn't understand why this would ever happen to me. I was like, what did I do to deserve this? All these emotions like anger, sadness. And I always kept my head high and never let anyone know how I truly felt about it all. And I could tell you everything, and you still wouldn't know how I felt. It was just the worst time ever. I would go to physical therapy twice a week for rehab, and I did that for about 8 months. And it was the start of summer, and my elbow still wasn't better, and I really wanted to play baseball. And my dad is a lefty. He throws with his left and catches with his right. So I took his glove, and I decided the second I picked up his glove that I will learn how to throw and catch both ways. And every night I would play catch with my mom, and I learned how to throw really good with my left. And I decided to try out for a baseball team, and a travel ball team, and I made it. At that moment, I had never been so proud of myself. I did something most people couldn't do if they tried, and I did something most people would never try.
Facts.
Soon enough, I became cleared, and I was able to throw again, so I switched back to righty and played the whole summer, the original way. And on the last tournament of the summer, I bet you can never guess what happened. I started to feel those same pains again, and I just started thinking the same thoughts, this has got to be a joke. I don't want to believe it at all. So I took it easy, and I started babying it, trying to just work it out and not let it get to that point where it was before. But yet again, the pain became unbearable, and I got another MRI, and the cartilage actually tore off again. So within 2 weeks, I had my second elbow surgery. This time it took 8 to 9 months for it to heal and regrow. But since it was my second time, I knew how I should be treating it to get it healthy again. And this time, I wasn't really depressed. I was I knew how to deal with it better. So instead of pitying myself in my horrible situation, I accepted it for what it is. Now, let me tell you, when I did this, everything, and I mean everything, became easier to deal with and understand. It was easier for me to think about it less and just try to live my life. And I can't stress this enough. When I was hopeless about my situation and not accepting to it, I was miserable. But when I told myself that this is just another setback that will prepare me for a major comeback, I found out I was truly happy with that. Sooner than I knew it, I was back to working out every day. My arm felt great. Now, a year and a half later, it's March 29th, Tuesday of spring break, and I'm at John's Pass Beach with all my boys. We're just chilling at the beach, and I see my friend Danny, who I like never see outside of school, walk by with the skimboard, and I hopped out of the car. I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to ride your skimboard," and he was like, "Let's go for it." And we went out there, and I tried it once, and I just ate shit like completely. And then I got up again. I was like, I knew what I did wrong. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this again, and I'm gonna do it. And I do it again, and I immediately eat shit yet again. But this time it was a lot worse. I immediately knew like something happened. I heard my ankle pop, and I felt 3 cracks, and I just remember like it was yesterday, just screaming like 10 times, like, I broke my fucking ankle. I was punching the sand, just like, and immediately like right after I was like, what the heck just happened? And I lifted up my foot, and it just flopped all around. It was just dangling. I couldn't stand or walk, and I couldn't think clearly about anything except the agonizing pain I was in. And of course, I thought again, like, how did this happen, and why did this happen to me? And my friend carried me off the beach. I weighed like a whole 100 pounds more than him. He was a strong boy. Michael Corey. Shout out.
Corey. Yeah, yes sir.
So I go to the hospital immediately.
Michael.
And by the time I get there, my foot and ankle was so swollen, they couldn't see anything on the x-ray. So they tell me I broke my ankle, and dear God, I wish that was the case, because I had to get an MRI a week later, and it turns out I tore 3 ligaments in my ankle, and I couldn't walk or put any weight on it for about like 5 months, and I was in a wheelchair I went to school in a wheelchair and shit, and it was a severe sprain. With this injury, I just missed out on so many opportunities. Like, all I wanted to do was play sports, and like, I couldn't even walk and like hang out with my friends, like, you know. I didn't want to accept it. Like, I couldn't wrap my brain around how it happened and like why it happened. And I got into this like loop of like,
why it kept on happening.
Yeah. But there are times where I think about it for like 3 seconds, and I would just start crying like hysterically, and I never let anyone see that. But I'll never forget what I learned from that. Like, that second surgery, like when I accepted that, I carried that over to my ankle, and I just accepted it for what it was, and I knew I couldn't change it. So I dealt with it a lot better than how like I would have if that never happened to me. And I try to deal with everything day by day, and I did what I could do to stay positive, when really all I wanted to do was like just break down and just like be pitied. But what would I have gained from that? How would someone's pity for me actually help me at all? It wouldn't. It never will. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong to talk about your problems, but it'll almost never make it better. Some scenarios are different, but I had to accept what happened to me and grow from that, because there is no going back. This ankle injury will follow me for the rest of my life, and I was convinced that I had nerve damage in my last 3 toes, because they would constantly be like the worst aches I've ever felt. I was scared to like actually, like, once I was healed and could do stuff, I was really scared to go like all in, because I was scared of like hurting it again, and that was absolute retardation, because like I don't think that would have happened. Like, but I was just so scared of that, and because of how weak and unstable it felt, and it took over a year for my ankle to heal, and that was another big major setback for me. So I learned a lot from that though. And another year later, going into senior year, I'm on summer vacation, just hanging out with all the boys again, and we're at our friend's house, and we decided to go on like a night walk, and we walked on the block, and me and my friend Derek Smith, shout out,
D-Rock.
love you, boy.
Yes, sir.
He was like, hey, you want to slap box? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And we went at it for like 20 seconds, and like in 0.5 seconds, my whole life got turned upside down, like yet again. Derek hit me so hard that my shoulder dislocated, and I actually tore my labrum. I tore my posterior labrum. I tore my rotator cuff. I tore a muscle in my shoulder, or like on my neck almost, because your labrum is it's like the tissue. But before we get to all that, I heard 5 or 6 cracks and pops, and instantly I knew I was hurt. And my mind was frantically thinking, like, what the fuck just happened? Like, is this pain real? Like, the same question that always came up. And this time, this was the one injury that I could not accept. Like, actually, like, this is the one I couldn't deal with, I thought. I go to the hospital praying the pain I felt was nothing, but at the same time I was thinking, how could this pain not be anything severe? And I tore all that stuff. And my surgeon didn't even know that until he opened me up, because the MRI I got was so shitty and blurry, he couldn't see. It was way worse than he ever imagined. He had no idea how that ever happened from like what I was doing. I was thinking the same thing. So I got the surgery, and basically they just anchored down like all my ligaments and like all the torn tissue, like cleaned it out and smoothed it. And this injury hands down took the biggest toll on me. I became depressed for like about a month, and I couldn't really accept it at all. It was my senior year, and all I wanted to do was be in the best shape ever and just be absolutely swole for the ladies. But I couldn't do that, like, yet again. I realized after about 2 months that this was the most valuable pain I've ever experienced, and that I needed to take and learn from it. And I've never learned more in my life, like, from that situation. You see, if my life wasn't full of hardships and I never had all these problems, I never would have, like, learned how to, like, grow as a real person. Like, I was so extremely humbled by this. I realized, damn, bad things have happened to me, like horrible things, but I also realized what happened to me is minimal compared to like what other people are going through. I have a family that loves me, and I have friends that love me, and I realized I couldn't be more blessed. So many people go through things I could never even imagine going through. Don't worry though, those problems, that is what is gonna make you the best person you can possibly be. There's a catch to my story. I didn't just tell you all this because I want you to feel bad for me or anything. The moral to my story is that pain is the only way that you can grow. And how you react to that pain is the most important thing in your life. You can let that pain tear you down, make you depressed or sad, or you can use that pain to fuel the fire inside you that'll help you achieve greatness.
Facts.
So choose wisely.
And you also cannot have a closed mindset on stuff that happens to you. You know, shit's just gonna happen in life. Either you like it or you don't. Like something major or vital happens in everybody's life for a certain reason, and it could be a certain reason as like something higher power than you. You know, I'm not saying anything about God, but you know, they could be just telling you to watch out or learn from different experiences from just anything really. Like something, if something happens to you very major, it should just be a key that you should just keep going where you're going and just believe what you want to believe to achieve it, because it's not going to be easy at all by any means.
Everything you go through should be a lesson in life.
Facts.
Everything happens for a reason.
And you just got
Gotta
to
grow.
turn the L's into dubs all
Yes,
day.
sir.
You just
Oh,
can't
yeah.
let it beat you. That shit.
A jabbo eating doves.
Till next
Word
time.
out.